Welcome, welcome, everybody. We are excited to start our April Money Mindset Masterclass. I'm Tiana on the Thank Me Later team, and I will be sharing my screen and guiding this conversation. It's going to be really great. We have an amazing guest named Dayanara, and I'll let her introduce herself in a second, but I'll share my screen so we can get on started. And feel free to, a few housekeeping notes, feel free to drop questions in the chat. We'll have a section for Q&A at the end, but definitely feel free to drop your questions in as you think about them. And these slides will be available in the community, and a replay of this will be available in the community. So prepare to take notes, but you can definitely watch the replay later on. All right. Can you ladies see my screen? If you can, guys, give me a thumbs up if you can. All right. Wonderful. All right. So today, our Money Mindset Masterclass, we are going to talk about how to reframe retirement as a financial independence, and a little bit about Thank Me Later. So if you're new to the community or need a refresher about what we do here, so Thank Me Later is a financial literacy brand that empowers Black women to confidently take control of their money and prepare for life events. So we have monthly member programming such as this, and then we have another session this month. And so every month we have about 2 sessions, sometimes more if it's a lot we want to talk about. So you can tune into our monthly programming. We have a series called Thank Me Later Real Life, where we help you navigate real life situations and that have a financial impact. So such as what to do if you get in a car accident or your teen starts driving, things like that. So we have a series on that, and you can catch all of our previous content in the community and on Jani's YouTube channel. And then we have the private community. So in the Mighty Networks platform, where we try to help you navigate different money moves and reach your money goals. So thank you guys for being here. I will introduce our amazing subject matter expert, Dayanara, who is a financial consultant with Equitable Advisors in South Florida. So Dayanara, if you want to introduce yourself and tell our community a little bit about yourself, and I'll stop sharing real quick so that we can see your beautiful face and you can tell us all about you.
All right. Well, I am an island girl, born in Puerto Rico, raised in St. Croix. I moved to the United States for college, and I stayed for career opportunities. As beautiful as the islands are, there's a lot more career opportunities here. So what I started with was working at Fortune 500 companies in the retirement department. And that is where I got the passion for helping people plan for their retirement. So I've worked along the lines of financial planning and protection of your families. But to me, really at the core of overall well-being from beginning to end, to me, is retirement planning, because I've seen a lot of people not save, not plan properly. And I've seen people do it successfully. So I think that the more people are empowered to retire, we'll get into that whole retirement versus financial independence, I think the more successful we all are as a community. But I'm a mom of 2, and they keep me busy. So I can relate to the whole working 70 hours a week, and I can relate to the whole balancing raising children with working. And I'm here to help anyone the way I can.
Awesome. Well, we're super excited to hear your wisdom. The TML team got a glimpse of it in our pre-call. So ladies, you guys are in for a treat today. Thanks for that intro. And then you guys know Jini, who is our fearless leader of Thank Me Later. And Jini has a lot to say about this topic, so she is going to be chiming in. All right.
One of my favorite topics of all time.
You know, I feel like you're one of the few to say that, but bring the energy to us so that we all can feel like you.
Be happy and excited about it. We are not going to be sad and depressed. We're going to be happy, ladies.
Yes, yes.
Makes us 2.
Okay, so we got 2 people who love retirement. I'm going to be like y'all when I grow up. All right. And you ladies can still see my screen, right?
We can.
Okay, awesome. So we'll dive on in. So if you're new for our Money Mindset Masterclass, these are a few things that you'll need. So one, because we're talking about mindfulness, you will need an open mind and self-awareness. So we have some questions through an amazing tool that we use called Menti, where we will be able to assess ourselves and kind of check in with where we are as it relates to our retirement plan. And we like to really look at this as a safe space. So like not judging yourself for what you feel like you should have done or where you should be. This is a time for you to come and assess where you are and how you need to move forward. So definitely have an open mind and be self-aware. So you'll need your cell phone or a computer to access the tool Menti, which we'll get into, but it's a great engagement tool. So we have some questions to get some engagement from you ladies, and then potentially a notebook and a piece of paper. I know I'll be taking notes because this is a topic that don't know much about, but excited to learn. And then you'll also need the April download. So we do provide a handout in the community every month, the first of each month, about what you need to be doing and the moves you need to be making as it relates to that topic. So Lauren will drop in the chat the April download. And so you guys don't necessarily need it for this Mindset Masterclass, but definitely want to make sure you have it. So that's why we have it on the list, because it is full of really great information. So we can all take a deep breath, get settled in, and we will dive in. So just to touch base again, no folks are joining the community at different times. So just real quick about Thank Me Later, we build our programming around a 12-month calendar that has a different topic each month as it relates to finances. And so Jini created this amazing calendar based on what she's seen in her professional career as an accountant and business manager of areas that people had a lot of questions on and needed some guidance on. So we have check boxes on the ones that, or check marks on the topics that we've already covered in the community. And you can always go back and watch the replay of all of our content. But in January, we focused on mindfulness and goal setting, and mindfulness is a theme throughout the year, but we really honed in January. And then in February, we talked about taxes, career, and business. In March, we talked about organization, got our papers together, or at least we tried to start. Like me, I still got a little work to do, admittedly, but it's okay. I'm going to get there. And then now we're focusing on saving, retirement, and investing. And so that April download that I mentioned, it does cover all three topics, but today we're really going to focus on retirement and how to reframe retirement as financial independence, which we'll get into in a little bit. So just to level set that's what Thank Me Later is all about. And these are some of the other topics that you can look forward to for the rest of the year. And let's get into the goals for today. So first, we want to unpack why financial independence may feel foreign or out of reach for some people. And what is the mindset that you need in order to believe that it's attainable? Because it is possible. Again, even if you feel like you're starting late, even if you feel you should, coulda, woulda, it's fine. Allow yourself to accept whatever life experiences that you've had. You've made it this far, but moving forward, what is the mindset that you need in order to believe that it is attainable for you? So we're going to talk about that today. And we're also going to assess the life experiences that might have impacted your ability to retire. So the pandemic threw us all off. A divorce might have thrown you off. Debt, many things might have impacted your ability to retire in the way that you want to. So first, we want to assess what happened, and so we know how we can move forward. And then our ultimate goal for this session is to redefine retirement on our own terms and to create a plan based on your goals. So it's going to look different from everybody of what they envision for their life, but we really want you to take a minute and visualize what it is that you even want when you are ready to retire. So these are the goals for today, and we will dive on in. So starting off with a stat. So according to essential.org, 33% of women have no retirement strategy. And of those 33% who do, just 24% have it written down. And so we wanted to include this old tweet, but oldie but goodie from Erykah Badu that said, write it down on real paper with a real pencil with a real intent and watch it get real. Spelling is a spell. So playing off of mindfulness and to just kind of highlight that there is truly power in like writing things down. So it's one thing to have it in your mind, but to write it down just makes it real. So we really want that you take this information from this Money Mindset Masterclass and all of the programming that we will have this month, take this information and create a plan. If you already have a plan, fine tune your plan, but really make a commitment to write down and or type up, because I probably won't use a real pencil, but I'll type it up of what your plan is so that financial independence and retirement is possible for you.
Right. And so, Tiana, the only thing that I want to add for those of you who are scared to death of this topic, right? Just thinking about it or talking about it makes you nauseous because you feel behind, because you don't see a way out. You still need to write down what you want to see for yourself, even if you're not sure how you're going to get there. So give yourself the permission at least just to write it down, because fear, y'all know how fear, Michelle's on here too, our subject matter expert from January, fear will stop you from doing so many things, okay? So please give yourself enough grace to write it down. Like, what do you want? By what age? You think you need how much? You know, you want to be debt free. You know, you want to retire at 40. I'm not sure what it is, but write it down. Please write it down.
Absolutely. And I read that fear is false evidence appearing real. It's not real, y'all. There's nothing to fear for real. We got this. All right.
And if I can add to Jemi's point, this is something that you can even put a picture. If you want to, for example, stop working and be on a beach somewhere, take a picture of that beach, put it on your vision board. So you don't have to be afraid of writing it down. If you're more of a visual person, take a picture, put it somewhere where you can see it. Let that be your motivation. I have actually done that with my computer, and I put it as my screensaver. Motivates me on days when I'm not that excited about doing what I need to do, right? Sometimes it's not as fun to do what you need to do, but you get that inspiration, that motivation, that vision, that visual. So whatever works for you. Some people are words, some people are, you're still terrified. But baby steps, I know. Baby
Feel
steps.
the fear and do it anyway.
Whatever works.
I mean, the fact that you're here today is huge.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The fact that you actually just logged in today is huge. So you have to think about it. You're afraid. I understand why, but we're going to have to reconcile with that. We're going to have to come to peace. We're going to get some peace around that. But please we have to have a vision. Make it plain. Thank you, Dee.
Mm-hmm. I love the engagement in the chat. Y'all keep it coming. All right. So we like to anchor this Money Mindset Masterclass with affirmation or a money mantra. So this month's affirmation is, I am responsible for my own retirement. So when I say affirmations, I like to say them a few times to kind of get it in my spirit, make sure it feels real. So yeah, say it with me, even if you're on mute. I am responsible for my own retirement. And we really hope that this feels not scary, but empowering. And that is really our objective tonight, is to empower you to say, you have what you need, even if you don't feel like you've made the right decisions or you don't feel like you have everything you need. You truly do, but you have to make the decision that you are responsible and you will take responsibility and accountability for your retirement. So anchor our session in this, write this down, have this at the forefront so that you keep this in top of your mind as we dive in. All right. So what is financial independence? Because that's what we're talking about today. And I'm going to let Dayanara start it off, because I will say Dayanara really gave us the inspiration for looking at retirement as financial independence. When we had our pre-call and preparing for this session, we had such an amazing conversation with her. And she talked about, reframing it as financial independence and how it looks different for everybody. So I will cue it up to Dayanara so that she can talk about this a bit more.
I would love to hear what people's ideas are of retirement, what their visions are. Can they give feedback?
Yeah, we do have you can drop them in the chat. Yeah, for sure.
Just a quick, what is your vision? What is your idea on what is retirement? What is it for you? In one or two words, just a couple of words.
I'm answering retirement is ... So if that helps y'all follow through.
Less working, okay. Options.
Financial peace.
Yeah. Traveling more. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Worry free.
Debt free. I love that. Working when I want to. Okay, Kathy, that's the goal.
With want in all capital letters. Too.
Right.
I love that.
Free of someone's time clock.
Not having to worry about money. Amen. Flexibility and financial independence. Okay, so I see a few answers that are right in line with what I see it as well. And that's the conversation we were having, that there was a time when I first entered the industry where retirement was, you graduated from high school, college, you found a job that allowed you to work for 30, 35 years. You collected a pension at that point, and you just said, I'm going to give them 30 years of my life, and then they're in turn going to give me 10 years of, or 20 years, depending on our life expectancies, of this paycheck for me to live. Your dad's generation, exactly. So we are not very far removed from that. We have transitioned to a different generation where retirement is not working at one job for 30 years, 35 years, getting the watch and the pension check, and also getting that Social Security check as bonus, right? We don't have those two checks coming. We now work. Some people have 10 jobs, 3 careers. Some people entered the technology boom where they created a wonderful idea and they sold it. Now they're retired and they're 25. I mean, that's not the norm. But the thing is, it's much more exciting to think about it as, when can I, and a lot of answers have this, when can I stop working so that I can still pay my bills, but not have to work? Would that take me, how long will that take me to get to that point? How much will I need so that I'm not obligated to work, so that I don't need to do this to pay bills, so that I can live my best life for as long as I can? So everyone's in a different stage, but it's very different to say, oh, I have to work for 35 years at this place to get my pension, versus, what do I want my life to look like? How long will I be willing to save and put money away? Exactly, Stephanie, life expectancies are longer. They thought when they came up with Social Security, right, that we would work till we're 60 and die at 75, right? That's what they thought. And this is going into a different topic, but they were not expecting Black men to live that long either. They were going to not get any Social Security, right? Or Black people. So this wasn't really made for us, and we need to make something for ourselves that is exciting and liberating and empowering. And so instead of saying, I'm going to do this for 30 years or give you 30 years of my life and then get something, no, I'm going to find ways to earn, put that money to work, put it to work as quickly as possible, and put away as much as possible so that I can then create my own pension check, create my own income stream. And that could be at different stages. Some people can start it in 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever stage you're at. We want to customize that for you as an individual. That was kind of long, but it is much more exciting to see it as, when do I no longer have to work to pay for my expenses, for my bills? And how do I live the life that I want to live in retirement or in the years that I'm not working?
And Dayanara, when I hear you say that, I feel like people long for that. Not that they just want it, you know. And I know we're all on different spectrums. I know Tiana, who just turned 30. I'm 53. We're on these different spectrums, but we all really want the same thing at the end of the day, though. No matter where you are, you're just starting your career or life, or you're like me in your 50s or older, and you're like, you know what? It's been a good run. How much longer do I have to work? Like, now I see my life differently now. I want to spend my time differently now. So I know, I feel what you're saying. Sabrina says, I'm ready now.
Ready? I saw that.
Girl, listen, I completely understand. Absolutely.
Are we all?
That's right. Me too, sis. All
And
right.
there's something actually called the FIRE movement. I don't know. Have you guys heard about that? The FIRE movement. It's kind of recent.
I did. Lauren circulated it to me.
No, what is that?
Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's retire early. It's financial independence, retire early. So it's really not focusing on the retire early, but more on the financial independence. And that's what we were talking about, that what if I don't want to retire, but I just want the flexibility to do the work I want to do. I have a passion for helping children or animals, whatever. And I want to focus more of my time doing that. So it's financial independence, how to retire early. And it's more of how do we live frugally right now so that we can accumulate as much as possible to get to live that life that we want. Speaking to me.
And when I hear you say that, Dayanara, I think a couple of things. I do think, because now we're kind of talking about strategy, and I don't want to digress and get into strategy about the how, because really, y'all, the first step is this, which is the mindset. We can tell you what to do all day. If you can't get your head and your heart right, and if you're thinking everything already is too hard, too impossible, I'm too late, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too, like, you've already made some decisions. Like, now we have to give ourselves permission to clean the slate. It's kind of like a do-over, you know. So if you've ever been in a relationship and you broke up, you know, you got a divorce, you wanted to start a whole new career, you have to give yourself permission to have this do-over to get your head right. Then you can actually feel confident about doing the work. Got to get your head right first.
Absolutely. Awesome. So we're going to dive into a Minty question. So if you ladies could go to, on your phones or on your computers, tablets, go to www.minty.com and use this code and answer the question, as Jini and Dayanara was talking about financial independence, does that feel foreign or out of reach to you? And so these are anonymous, so we won't know what you said, but we would love for you to just kind of check in with yourself and kind of see which one you resonate. So we have, yes, I'm not sure how to become financially free. No, I feel like I'm on my way to financial independence, or kind of, I'm making progress, but would like to be further along.
If anybody can't get into Minty, let us know in the chat if you're having problems getting in.
All right, we got some yeses. I'm going to do it myself too.
I am too.
And if you guys can't see the code, I see some folks dropping in, but just in case you guys can't see it, so minty.com, code 73542655. All right, we'll let a few more minutes, a few more seconds for this. All right. So we have a good mix. Looks like a lot of folks feel like we're in the kind of space, which is a good space to be in. Well, I think they're all good spaces to be in, because long as you know where you are now, you can move forward. But we see we all have a lot of us have a lot in common of feeling like you're making your way, but there's further along you'd like to be. So thank you, ladies, for your responses there. I see some more responses coming in. All right. And so next up, we want to, so Dayanara talked about a vision board. That made me so excited because I love a vision board. So we want you to just take a minute, take a second, close your eyes maybe, and think about in 20 years, whether it's going to be your retirement age or not. We just picked 20 as that's a good amount of time. What do you want your life to be? How do you want to spend your days? You know, how do you want to spend your time? Where do you want to live? Do you want to live where you are now? Do you want a beach house like I do? You want a vacation house? Like really taking the time to think about what you want your life to be. And so we have another Minty question, but want to give you guys a second to think about, you know, how you guys want to spend your time when you are in a space of being financially independent.
Want us to drop that in the chat, or you
I just kind of think about it.
just think about it. Okay.
The next question will kind of tee it up. I just wanted to give everybody a second to kind of wrap their minds around it. All right. And so now pulling out your phones again to answer this question, you can just jot down some thoughts and it'll populate here. But what does financial independence on your own terms look like for you? And we say on your own terms because it's going to be different based on whatever your goals are. So you can refresh, you should be able to refresh the Minty slides and it should show up.
Hi, guys.
Hi, welcome back.
How about that? How about financial freedom to have equipment that does not fail ever?
Right.
Ever.
Technology on my side. That's what it looks like for me. So if you guys could spend a second answering this question. And do you guys see the Minty on your phone? Okay, I see some folks dropping in. Wonderful. All right, so as you guys are writing your thoughts of what financial independence and how you wanted to visualize your life, I'll read some of these. So being able to travel and experience the life that you want, love that. Owning your day, working at your leisure, wonderful. Controlling where your money goes. Working part-time, only 2 to 3 days a week. Love that for you. Whoever said that, love that for all of us. Time with family and enjoying time, real estate investments, getting up every morning, doing what you want, what fills you, peace of mind. These are great. Thank you for sharing. Traveling, setting up generational benefits. Lovely. Awesome. All right. So as those are keep dropping in, we'll keep it moving because I know we want to get to the meat of this. We answered this question. So now we want to kind of assess, okay, life has happened for all of us. Some things may have shaken you up and may have kept you from saving in the way that you want to, but let's kind of address where we are with that. So our next question is, what shackles do you need to free yourself from to become financially independent? So we have some shackles where it's like literally debt, or it might be trauma, or, you know, just mindset, a limiting belief that you don't feel like it's possible. There could be shame, but we really wanted to, and there could be a lot of others too. Financially supporting your adult children or your parents. We're going to talk about the financially supporting your adult children in a little bit, but we wanted to lay this out so that you can kind of see where you might fall and what might have been keeping you back and what you need to move forward from. But we always like to use the dots to kind of see how much we all have in common, and see that you really have a community. And that's what Thank Me Later is all about, is we're together on this journey with you, and you're not the only one. So kind of wanted to also show the camaraderie between all of us. So we have some debt. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Janai?
I was going to ask Dayanara, when she sees this, are you surprised by these answers based on what you do? You know, being an investment advisor, helping people prepare for their retirement.
I'm somewhat surprised at yes, I'm a little surprised. I'm not with the debt because that's very American. That's something that, you know, it's how do you not have debt? But I was a little surprised with the limiting mindset that people are actually owning that, you know, because that's the first step, you know, instead of saying it's the debt or it's the job, right? A lot of people say, I don't make enough, you know, and then it's easy to address that because we go, well, if we can't change the income, we change the expenses, and that's hard, but we take a look at ourselves and we do it. So that's kind of impressive to see that a lot of people have said, I have a limiting mindset, you know, that's encouraging. I'm surprised to see that.
And thank y'all for being so honest about that.
Right.
About the limiting mindset and also about the shame.
Yes, the shame.
Because it just those are the things that where we don't have the swagger, you know, we don't have the confidence to say, you know what, you're right. I may have made some mistakes, but now I can do X, Y, or Z. These are the things that keep us still and locked and stuck. So just saying it is so powerful, y'all. Thank y'all for being so honest.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Absolutely. And so we see it. So I say we all roll our shoulders back. We shake it off. We're free from this. We don't allow ourselves to continue to be bogged down by any of this, or even things that's not on here that you may be dealing with. Shake it off. Shake it off. And we're moving forward. All right. So you are responsible for your own retirement. So I'm going to tee this up to Jini to talk about this a bit more. And Jini, if you want to share your retirement journey and planning and some of the things that we talked about as we were preparing for this, of how folks need to be saving for retirement, but also living their lives, and, you know, how you kind of made that decision to take retirement planning very seriously.
So Dayanara, what that has really looked like for me is, I think I was just very fortunate that I grew up in a family where I had the perfect role models. I had the role models of exactly what not to do.
Oh,
and I had the role models of what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that kind of gave me a bit of a leg up on how to move forward. And although I struggled a lot at the beginning of my career, I don't know why, I just knew that my money today was supposed to support my life today and also my life tomorrow.
that's so powerful. And
so I want y'all to think about that.
Yeah.
So think about what I just said. So I knew the money that I'm making today had two jobs: support me today and support my tomorrow. And so even when I was really, really struggling, it taught me to save for my future, and it was non-negotiable for me. So it just helped me with my priorities, particularly having a lot of responsibility, you know, having children, having other relatives that I had to help. Like, I always made sure that it stayed at the top of my list, unapologetically at the top of the list. And I'm not saying, y'all, like I just had, you know, all this extra money, hundreds or thousands of dollars, even if it just meant like $20, $50, $100. Like, I made sure I was at the top of the list because my tomorrow was important to me. Right? So that's just kind of a mindset shift for y'all to think about. It's your future that you're creating. So, no, again, your 20-year-old self, or if you're like me, your 50-year-old self right now, whatever you're doing today, you know, how much you're putting in your 401k, your 403b, your IRA, whatever you're doing, think about you are preparing your future. Don't put yourself last. You don't have to put yourself last. So I'm like, I funded my retirement before I did anything for my kids' education. I'm like, they can figure that out. They're going to have to figure that out. There's no financial aid for retirement. Like they're going to have to manage that because I got to take care of me first. I love my children, but I know I could not depend upon them to make sure that I was good later, right? So like we have to be unapologetic about that because, you know, we're normally taking care of so many other things. That's why a lot of times we have so much debt. Part of it is for us, but we're doing things for our family, making sure everyone else is good. But where are you on that list? Where are you?
And that doesn't always look sexy or exciting or fun. You're actually the not cool person sometimes. I was that 20-year-old, not always getting, not 20s, in my 20s, not always getting invited because I was like, nope, this is my budget and I'm going to do this. So it doesn't always look, it's not always the look you imagine, and people will look at you like a type of way, but it pays off in the end. Because it's like you said, it's that balance of spending some today. I would never say don't spend anything today, save it all for your future, but it's having some for today and some for tomorrow that a lot of people don't get. I get a lot of, I might die tomorrow, or my kids will take care of me tomorrow. So I have challenges with that, with people who take money out of their 401k for their kids' college, and we try to find other ways for them to fund that, you know, because of that mentality. A lot of people don't have that mindset. Right. So that's very important.
Yeah.
How did you?
It has to be a non-negotiable. I don't know. I'm very grateful. I had a great aunt who I felt retired really well. And I was like, I need her life. I'm like, what do I have to do to when I grow up, I can live like her? And she was not educated, but she worked, and she had her own business. She saved. Her husband worked, you know, he worked in corporate America. I was like, I see what the end result of this is. Yeah. So I'm like, so I had the picture that Tiana's talking about, you know what I mean? And the picture was etched in my brain, but I'm like, okay, now I know what the picture is. Now I have to figure out, like, how did they do this? Having retirement mentors have been everything to me. And I didn't start identifying people when I got in my 50s. Like in my 30s, I was like, okay, trying to pay attention, like who out here is living the way that I want to be able to live later. Mm. And I'm not like talking about like on social media, pop in on private jets, right, and all that. Like, right. Who is, you know, debt free, or, you know, they've got good steady income during retirement. Like, who are those people? So I can begin to borrow from them, and I can lean into them. And like I said, I honest to God, I was adopted into the right family that just put me around the right people, and just always having an interest in money allowed me to kind of lean in. But y'all start paying attention to the people in your family. Who do you not want to be like, and who do you want to be like? And start paying attention to their behaviors, because that will let you know how you can get to where you want to be, what to do and what not to do when it comes to getting ready for your financial freedom.
My great uncle, when I was in college, taught me something that seems almost simple now, but at the time, I don't think many people around me had that mentality. And what he said is, you're going to school, you're going to get a degree. When you graduate, you're going to make money, whatever that is. The reason people don't get ahead is because when they start working, they spend that money. And as their money increases, they spend more. So it was actually my first year out of college, and to put my business out there, because I thought you pay $100,000 for school, so you're going to make $100,000 when you graduate. So to put my business out there, I was making $20,000 a year, and he said, when your money goes up, still spend $20,000 a year, and take that money that's extra and invest it. And that's the reason people don't get ahead, because when they make $20,000, they spend $20,000. When they make $100,000, they spend $100,000. That resonated with me, but it's because he was a self-made businessman. So you almost like, okay, I can listen to him. He did it. He doesn't spend lavishly. He didn't have all the fancy cars. He had properties. They traveled when they wanted to. They were living off of, at this point, later on, they were just living off of the income from their properties. So it's someone that it's important to hear that kind of information in your 20s. And that's why I asked you, how did you get that mindset? Because you don't usually get it unless someone hands you that nugget, that valuable piece of gold information, and you listen. Because people could tell you things, wise people can give you words of wisdom, and then you can say, whatever, I'm gonna go party.
Right, absolutely.
I'm gonna go live.
Yeah, and you should be able to do both, but it's all about your priorities, definitely, for sure. All right, Tiana, what's next?
All right. So next up, going off of being responsible for your retirement, let's address, and would love for you, Jini and Dayanara, to talk about the government and Social Security. But to set the tone, the government's not going to save you. They're not responsible for your retirement. There's no pot of money waiting for you to retire. The money that we pay in taxes now is not funding Social Security for when we retire. It's funding it for the people who's using it now. So you can't rely on Social Security. And then to drive that home and the importance of why you need a plan, we're going to show this very quick little video of this retirement estimator that you can get from the Social Security website. And so you would type in your information, your Social Security number. We just use a mock example, and enter last year's earnings, and they'll give you an estimate of how much you can expect when you retire. And for $70,000, it's a little small, but the highest is $3,000 a month if you retire at 70. And that's $3,000 a month money now, not whatever that looks like whenever you're 70. So ladies, if you could talk a bit about Social Security, and all of that the government is not here to help us retire, and why we need our own plan.
So one thing I will say is that's another misperception or older thinking, that we retire when Social Security starts to pay me, and that's not really what we are going to be able to do, right? So that's very old school. We are expecting Social Security to be really out of funds by 2036. So either one or two things happen: either they will greatly reduce it, or taxes will be greatly increased, or some kind of combination of those. So with my financial planning, I don't usually include that. That's kind of a bonus. First of all, Social Security is the icing on the cake, because do you really want to wait till you're 70 to stop working?
No. No,
Absolutely not, Dayanara. Absolutely not.
So then that's just something we don't really, we say, if we get that, okay, great, but it's not for me, right? It's not for me.
Right.
So we want to look at, what did you have, Jini, aside from, in terms of Social Security? We don't really count it in our, unless we have to, but we don't.
I'd like for people to go to the Social Security website, ssa.gov, just so you'll know if you do qualify, what that will be.
And when?
And when. Because if you're in your 30s or if you're in your 50s, what does that mean? Like, oh my God, I don't get this until I'm 65. I don't get this until I'm 67. I don't get this until I'm 72. Like, you have to have a starting place. Retirement, this is all about, these are numbers. So there's some very, very basic math that has to get done. So I think it's definitely something to know, but it is not something that you can completely depend upon. So even if you do get it, then you could say you can get it and you're like, oh my God, I can't live off of $3,000 a month anyway. That's not going to be enough for me. So at least you'll know what to expect versus arriving there or getting until you're in your 60s and like, now what? So I suggest everybody go to ssa.gov and complete what we just showed, just for perspective, not to say this is your plan. Like Dayanara says, we cannot expect, if that's your only source, and I know people, that's going to be their only source, there are going to be some challenges potentially as a result of that.
Right. We've always seen, but again, in the beginning, we would see retirement as a three-legged stool. You know, without one of those legs, the stool cannot stand, cannot stay up, cannot support you. So we used to see it as Social Security, your private savings, whether it's an IRA or your own individual investing, and your employer funded, whether it's pension or 401k or 403b, whatever you have. So you need as many sources of income as possible. I think that the new three-legged stool, really that Social Security bucket, to me, we put that aside of the purse that you talked about, you know, and it's more like, do you have, with all the entrepreneurs that we have a lot of people doing side hustles and side income and extra income. That might be your third leg, the third piece to the three-legged stool. Your individual savings, your employer sponsored funds, and then your side income, if you have some kind of part-time business or employment or skill, something like that.
That's
Create your own stool. I love it.
Create your own stool. And then we're going to do another mentee. That's a good transition. Thank you, Dayanara, for that. Mentioning some of the different retirement options. So we're going to do another mentee, and we'll wrap up these slides really quick so that we can get you guys' questions. I've seen some dropped in the chat, so we'll make sure to address those.
Keep dropping your questions in the chat as Tiana is transitioning us, though, so y'all can go ahead and get in the queue.
So what retirement accounts do you currently contribute to? And we will have, I had to skip some of the slides for sake of time, but we will share the slides. They have some definitions for these if you need a reference point. So we got a lot of folks with a 401k, as that's really popular. Roth IRA. And as we are getting responses, Dayanara and Jini, if you guys want to talk about which ones you see as most popular, which ones, you know, you see people investing in the most, things like that.
Right in line. Yep. Right in line with what you're, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, it's right in line with what the answers are showing. 401ks, Roth IRA is the most common. IRAs as well. Yep, we see that as well. So those are the most common. And I think if you're in your 20s, I don't know that we talked about this, but if you're in your 20s, 30s, you're challenged to, I think, the setback. And I don't know if I missed it when I got cut off, but the setbacks are usually just inertia or fear of getting started, not knowing, I don't know enough, I don't want to start. And I think in your 20s, you just want to start. So whether it's a 401k or a Roth IRA, just start, just set it up, right? So it's very, I'm glad to see that so many people have it. Once you get into your 30s and 40s, you want to kind of address, am I funding it properly? How much should I be putting in? Am I investing properly? Diversifying the account so that it can maximize it. Jini? I think, are you guys there? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm here. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
What this made me think about was I'm just getting back from being in Buffalo, New York with my family. And my cousin Tina, who's on the call, hey Tina, she came over one night to see me, and she had these statements from these different retirement accounts. And she's like, from previous employers or something from her current employer. She's like, oh, okay, so what do you think I should do with this? You know, can I combine these? Should I, you know, can I add to this? And my thing is like, please pull that stuff out.
Yes.
You know, please lean into us and ask a question. I was so happy that she asked. You know, she and I were the same age, but I know it's a priority. So yes, she has been contributing, but it's like, okay, but what does it all mean? Because you have it. Right. And I think a lot of times, Dayanara, people like, so what does this mean? I've got my old accounts. If I have the 401k and the IRA, should I be contributing to both? Like, I need you to be proactive. You know, like when you have a family member that's sick, or if you have a child, something's going on in school, and you're up there like, no nonsense. You don't know exactly what's going on, but you've never been here, but you're going to handle it. I need you to treat this the same way. Like, I have no idea, but I am going to ask some questions because I'm going to figure this out. So you're going to have to kind of have that same energy, dig out all the previous statements. Again, think about your previous employers, and then begin to look at, Dayanara, I know you know how important this is. Whatever you're contributing, how can you contribute more?
And at the bare minimum, for a lot of people hit that 401k button, at the bare minimum, you should be maximizing the match, right? So assuming that there's still a match, a lot of employers have gone down a bit with their matching, but I've seen so many people say, I just can't afford to put another 1% or 2% in. And I'm like, you can't afford not to. It's free money. Let's figure this out. Let's find it somewhere. You're talking to someone who I practice what I preach. When I didn't have the money, I didn't do my nails, right? So like, I find a way. Everyone has their thing that it might be hard to let go of, but we have to maximize it. And then once we get older, we want to try to put as much as possible, maximizing the entire contribution, putting away as much as possible. If they don't match, is it best to add to, is that an IRA? I can't see the full question. To the IRA?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so it depends. That's an individual question. Depends on how much you have on the IRA, depends on the fees, because even if they don't match, you have a 401k where they may be paying the expenses, the fees, right? So for a smaller account, it might still make sense to do it through work. My job doesn't offer anything. Okay. Yeah, but you can always, if you don't have a 401k where they contribute, and you're younger, you have more time, I would suggest a Roth IRA, because you have tax preferential treatment in the future when taxes may go up. Generally speaking, this is an individualized, that's an answer that cannot be taken as blanket. I think you need to speak to someone individually to make sure. But generally speaking, if you don't have a match at work, then you can set up a Roth IRA on your own. And if you maximize that, then you can still put away in a 401k because it reduces your taxable income. So we want to look at many things. We want to look at your tax situation, your current savings, how much you need, for your financial independence. I'm drifting away from retirement for your financial independence, and what buckets of money or purses, where can I put as much of it away as possible to accumulate as much as possible in the most tax efficient way, so that when I take it out, I keep most of it. Because you can put a lot of money in taxable accounts, and then the IRS keeps a lot of it. So we have to think about multiple things at one time.
Right. The only thing that I want to say is this. So when people tell me, Dayanara, they say, my company doesn't match, so I'm not contributing. Or my company doesn't match. I'm like, what does that have to do with you? It is your retirement. It's not y'all's, it's yours. So it's a vehicle. They don't have to match, but you have to save for your retirement. So don't let that be your out, because sometimes people say almost kind of like a little attitude, like, I'm not going to do it. Like, what does that have to do with you? You still have to do it.
And I think, you still do for yourself. And I think that's what I liked about her question. She said, is it better? She didn't say, oh, should I still put it in? She said, should I put it in an IRA instead? And that is the key. The reason a lot of times we still encourage people to put it in the 401k is because it's not as easy to reach that money. You have to stop working there to get that money. Sometimes you put it in an IRA and you can take it out easier. So if you're a person who might not have the discipline, right? You feel like, listen, I need that put it away as much as possible, then yes, still put money in the 401k. But we want to think about the tax situation for that individual, as well as the retirement picture or financial independence picture.
Yeah, and that's the only other thing I want to say, Dayanara, as a CPA, you put that money in 401k, it does help you pay less in taxes.
Today,
so that's a whole nother strategy too. So what you got next for us, Tiana?
Yeah, so I'm going to actually wrap up these slides because I do want to leave some time for Q&A. Um, but before I do want to plug our next session with the lovely Dayanara, our Pink Table Talk on Wednesday, April 27th. So this session, between now and then, we would love for you guys to really think more about what you want for your retirement. What do you want for your financial independence? What does that look like? In addition to consuming the content in our handout so that you can get the actionable steps of the moves that you need to be making. But we have a call to action and we want to hear you guys' stories. So we'll be joined by Dayanara and Michelle, amazing Michelle, who's a yoga therapist, and she is going to bring that mindfulness into this conversation as well as we talk about how to retire on your own terms. But we want to hear your stories. So, Jini, if you could share more about what type of stories you would love to hear. And you guys, and Lauren will drop in the chat the questionnaire that you guys can complete so that we can get your information.
So think about it this way, ladies. Tonight, this is really about your mindset. Okay? Tonight, this is really just to make sure that we are level setting and getting our heads right so we can get ready to do the work. The next session, the Pink Table Talk, this is about the work. So when people are like, how much do I contribute here? What should I do? What should I not do? That's what we're talking about on that session. And the stories that we need to hear from y'all is if you have had success, like you're on the road, you feel like you're doing a good job. We want to know what you've done. If you are like, I am struggling, I have made some mixed steps, I've had some life happen, we would like to hear from you too. Who's willing to share their story with us during our Pink Table Talk? Because the more that we share about our experiences, then you'll be able to pick from, okay, that's a good idea. Just like my Aunt Betty. Okay, I don't need to do this. Oh, I should do this. We want to make sure you get the very tactical steps on what to do. So that's what the Pink Table Talk is all about. So please engage with us and be willing to open and share your stories.
Yes, and you will see in the questionnaire, there is a preference of living in Atlanta, but we are open to all stories. So don't let that deter you. We would love to hear your story. And then I'm going to share one more Minty slide so that we can have our marching orders, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So the last Minty question is, what's one step, just one step you can take immediately after the session based on your financial independence goals? So we just kind of want to make sure that, with us doing this mindfulness session, that you take action after this. So please go to minty.com, use code 73542655, and let us know what is one step. That could be setting up a call with a financial advisor. We have getting an inventory on your accounts, creating a budget, increasing your 401k. These are great. Looking for more mentors. I love that. Increasing 401k contribution, coming up with your vision. These are all great. And we just really want you to feel empowered to say, whatever you envision for your life in 20 plus years or 10 years or 5 years, whatever goal you have for your financial independence, it is attainable. You absolutely can do it, but you have to take the step. And so this is your homework assignment. This is your one step. We have some learning more about 401ks versus Roth IRAs, being consistent, starting a conversation with a financial advisor. These are all great. So thank you, ladies, for your engagement here. And now we'll queue it up for Q&A, and we'll start with Dana. Dana, thank you for your question earlier today. So Dana asks, can we talk about what funding for retirement as a contractor or independent consultant who does not have a 401k?
As a contractor, independent consultant, you still want to start with how much you're going to put away, because you still have that earned income that you can fund. And this is more of a tax question, but you can still put away, your maximum into an IRA. So if you say I'm going to put more than $5,000-$6,000 away, then we look at another plan that you can set up for yourself, whether it's a simplified employee pension plan, SEP, or depending on how many employees you have, if it's just you, a solo 401k. So you have options that are available for you. But the starting point is, how much are you going to start putting in, so that we can determine, what is the best way to determine. Yeah, so depending on how much you're going to put away, that's a starting point with which plan, which option to use. Janai?
So the only thing, no, I agree. But the thing is to start. Like, I literally need you to put time in your calendar to contact your bank, whoever you invest with, to figure out what are my options and set a date. Like, I'm going to have my account set up by April 20th. I'm going to set up my IRA and begin to fund it. Like, I need you to start. It cannot just be an idea. All right. Next question, Tiana.
Yeah, so ladies, feel free to drop them in the chat. We did have some in the community from a post that we did earlier, so I'm going to read that. Edith may or may not be on the call, but Edith asks, I'm 41 and don't feel anywhere near prepared for retirement. How do I best beef up my 401k?
Minimize your expenses today, maximize as much as possible that 401k. If you can maximize it, if you can put in 15,000, I know that's a big number, into a 401k every year, you have what's called a catch-up contribution when you get to the age of 50. The reason you have that catch-up contribution is because most people have not saved enough by the time they're 50, and they have the allowance to put an extra 5,000-6,000 in. So what you want to do is put more in, and there's only two ways to do it. Either you have another, right? You find another source of income to try to dump more money in, or you reduce your expenses. There's really two ways to look at the budget. There's no other way around it. It's kind of that uncomfortable. I'm a fitness person, so I say the financial fitness and the health fitness is similar. If I wanted to lose weight, I either have to cut down my calories or increase my exercise, and it's almost like a science formula. So I have to do the same with this. The beefing up the retirement is putting more away. However, caveat, if you've put some away and you've invested it in very fixed investments that are not growing for you over time, then that's another thing we want to look at. Do you need to diversify those investments? Are you properly allocated for your risk tolerance and for your time horizon? So those are the two things I would say.
Thank you for that. I'm going to answer. I have another question for the community, but we're going to answer Krista's question. What are recommended options for investing bonuses?
Love that.
Well, that's good. So when you're saying investing bonuses, you mean that in what type of account, or what type of?
Let's assume what type of account. So she's got a bonus, 5,000, 10,000, 3,000, whatever it is. What would you suggest?
You can do it the same. You can start with, whenever we go into investing anything, we start with what's the most tax efficient way. So if you have not started, we're still in the retirement focus, right? So if you don't have your IRA funded yet, for example, right now, you can still fund a retirement account for last year, for the prior tax year. So you can take that bonus if you got it now and maximize last year and maximize this year. You can make double the contribution. I think that's that's what I would say. Still focusing on retirement, tax strategies, tax efficient way of putting that money away as much as you can. However, because this group, let me take a step back. This group put a lot under the debt. I would take a step to manage some of that debt. We can put a lot of money into savings and into retirement vehicles, but debt is going to keep weighing us down too. So maybe in your case, if you get a big bonus, maybe you want to balance that out with putting some towards paying off some debt that's weighing you down with high interest, for example, and the other half into a retirement savings vehicle.
Love that.
Thank you for that. That was actually, I think it answered T. Davis's question. I'll read it in case there's anything else that you want to share. But she asked, do you think it's better to get out of debt first, then invest and save for retirement, or do both simultaneously?
You know, it depends. It's so hard because every single situation depends on that person. If it depends on how much debt they have, I would say both simultaneous, right? Because they're both very important. But it really depends on the debt and the amount of surplus that they have to work with what they have and the amount of time that they have. So someone who's because one thing you don't have is like when it comes to tax savings, like you can make a retirement contribution for 2021 up until, let's say, April 15th. After that, that opportunity is gone. So for that person, I would say, okay, fund your prior year IRA, then pay some of this debt, and then you have till April of next year to fund this year. You know, so it's timing. It's a very hard question to answer without looking at the individual's big picture. So generally speaking, I would say both. Janai?
Yeah, the only thing, no, I agree. I think most of the time it's an and as well. The only thing is for people who are like, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do that. You can take it by bill. You could take it by debt. So you could say, oh, okay, for 2022, my goal is to pay off my credit card debt or to deal with this old medical debt. You know, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to increase my 401k contribution by 0.5 percentage point. So you want to be a little bit more tactical. That way you can have an actual strategy. The other thing too is with that Dayanara is not to get in any more debt. So that's the way to get out of debt is to stop creating more debt. And sometimes we have to have enough savings to manage that. So again, but I would be very tactical. This is my 2022, my 2023, my 2024, my plan to get out of debt and be working that very intentionally. So you'll feel good about each particular step, each step. Thank you for that, Tina.
Yes. And so going to a question in the community, Renika asks, what are the best tax shelters now to avoid paying a high tax bill when you retire? And I'm going to ask a follow-up question. If you could also explain what is a tax shelter? I don't know what that is.
So tax shelter, we have a lot of accounts where we're looking at it as an account where I put money in today and I don't pay the taxes on it today. I pay the taxes on it later, like your 401k, right? So it's a tax shelter because it's avoiding paying taxes, even if it's for a period of time. Keep in mind with a 401k or any of those retirement vehicles, you are required to start taking payments at some point because they want to collect, the IRS wants to collect their money at some point. But for this extended period of time, when you're in the growth and accumulation phase, you're not paying taxes on it. That's very different to if you had, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, shelter means, Tiana, shelter, protect from paying. It's a way of not paying taxes or maybe not paying ever, or like Dayanara is saying, or maybe you'll just pay much later. You're just kicking the can down the road.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Shelter it, not exactly avoid it altogether, just protect it. So maybe reduce it or delay it.
Mm-hmm.
So the question was
I can repeat it.
What types of accounts, right?
Yeah. What are the best tax shelters now to avoid paying a high tax bill when you retire?
I would say that there's two there that I can think of right now, which is a Roth IRA. The contributions into a Roth IRA go in after tax. So you do pay the taxes. You don't get a tax break today. But if you are young, if you have 20 years before retirement or before you start taking the money out, all those years that it's growing, you don't pay taxes on the growth. And when you do take it out, you don't pay taxes on it on the way out either. So that's one. Another would be code 7702 of the IRS code allows you through a life insurance vehicle to put money in, kind of like a Roth on steroids, right? Because you can put more than the IRA minimum into that, IRA maximum into that account and do the same thing, not have to pay taxes on growth on that account. I would say, Janai, my CPA would have it. There's any other tax shelter, but those are the two that I use commonly with clients.
Right. Because again, shelter means different things. People are trying to accomplish different goals, but I love what Dayanara said, that Roth IRA, you put money in now, right? All the time that it's growing, you're not paying any taxes on it. And then later in your 60s, your 70s, when you're pulling that money out, you don't pay any taxes on that money. So you put money in your 401k now, right? This is great. It's reducing what you pay in taxes, but guess what? When you retire and you're taking money out of your 401k, you're going to pay taxes on that money later. So I think a lot of us, we don't understand that. So I think the Roth IRA, you are winning. Do it. 99% of the people, it's good for you to do it.
Awesome. And Dayanara, just so that I respond to Renika, you said Roth IRA or code 7722. Is that right?
7702. So that's just the IRS. I shouldn't have said that. That's like saying 401k. Those are the codes that the IRS has, which is what allows us to have those accounts. But it's basically a life insurance policy. But I wouldn't look into that until you've already had a Roth. So there's levels. It's almost like just with overall financial planning, you know, you go, okay, let's look at your budget. Do you have a surplus? No. Okay, let's look at making a surplus. Once we get that surplus, okay, do you have debt? Yes. Okay, let's pay that off. Okay, do you have emergency savings? Let's get those 6 months, 3 to 6 months. And it's steps, right? So with retirement, it's the same thing. Or tax efficient vehicles, it's the same thing. Let me maximize this because this is the lowest cost, simplest account to set up, a Roth IRA. Some of you can do Roth contributions within your 401k. So not only are you putting in the money after tax, but you're getting a match if they have a match. I know a few of you said you don't get matched. So once you say, yes, Dayanara, I've done this, and I have maxed out a Roth IRA, what else can I do? Okay, let's look for something else. And that's how you keep looking. What folks shouldn't use a Roth. If you're above the modified adjusted gross income limits and you're not eligible to contribute to a Roth, then you shouldn't do a Roth. And that's when we go into the life insurance for retirement savings.
Thank you for that.
I don't know anyone else who shouldn't do a Roth because a Roth is low cost. It gives you that flexibility to have tax-free money in the future because no one knows what the future will be. We just know that we are getting as the U.S. is just more and more and more in debt, and they have the ability to raise our taxes, right? So if they do, Roth versus traditional IRA. Oh, a lot of questions are coming in now, huh? Roth versus
wait, Dayanara. Tiana's doing them from the oldest to the newest. Wait,
oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah. That's just the next one, Tiana.
Yeah. So I think we missed Sabrina. Sabrina asks, what's your advice regarding purchasing Bitcoin or NFTs?
That is one thing that I do not. So there's saving, there's investing, and then there's speculative investing. I don't touch speculative investing because it is extremely high risk. And that's just something in my 20 years, I haven't gone into that. So I'd have to refer you to someone who knew more about that. I stick to the savings, investing, tax efficient vehicles and such. If you are going to do any type of speculative investing, such as Bitcoin or any other, I would say it should be a very small amount, what you're willing to risk. Just like if you were going to invest in any one individual stock, I would say no more than 5 or 10% of your whole portfolio. You want to do a minimal amount because high risk could be high return potential, but you could have the risk of losing all of it, right? Janai?
No, I agree. If you're going to do it, I would start small and just kind of baby step into it. Yeah. So I'm not going to say no, but educate yourself and start small.
Cautious, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that. Next question.
Yeah, a few more questions. Sandria asks, any suggestions on where to begin searching for financial advisors?
Okay, so I am one. I'm available, licensed in Georgia. I think that you want to look at if you have a certified certified public accountant CPA like Jini, you can ask her for a referral. You can say, hey, who do you work with? I find that just like with doctors, medical doctors, word of mouth is the best. Hey, have you worked with someone that you're happy with, that has helped you with whether it be your retirement planning or life insurance or budgeting? But I am happy to help as one of you can talk to me and see if we're a good fit for each other. And ask your close network of people that you trust. Who have you worked with? Is there anyone you recommend? I think with an accountant, a doctor, a financial person, they're all people that you want to feel comfortable with, and you want to hear word of mouth that someone else is happy with them, I think.
Only other thing that I would add, ladies, is take a minute and write down the traits. Just like if you were wanting to date somebody, like what are you looking for? And I would write that down about my investment advisor. Like, what is the ideal personality? Do they need to be local? How often do I want to be able to talk to them? This is an area I'm not confident in. Just kind of, again, just like your ideal mate. Write down your traits and have that list in front of you as you start talking to people and getting recommendations.
I'm going to send you a little, like maybe a guide that you might want to share with them, that if they wanted to search, yeah, and you can share with them.
We'll be happy to do that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Just a couple of more questions before we wrap up for the evening, ladies.
Yes, I don't think we answered this Roth versus traditional IRA. Like, what's the difference? Krista asked, like, what's the difference between them? Or
so a traditional IRA is similar to a 401k. It's an account, it's an individual retirement account that allows you to contribute from your earned income on a pre-tax basis. So let's say for simplicity, you made $50,000 this year. If you put $5,000 into an IRA, your taxable income is now $45,000. That money grows in that account on a tax deferred basis, and providing that you take it out after age 59 and a half, the money that comes out, both the contributions and earnings, are going to be taxable at your income tax rate at that time. So whether you're in a higher tax bracket or lower tax bracket, you will be paying taxes at age 60 at that rate. A Roth IRA allows you to put in the same contribution, but on an after-tax basis. It is still going to grow tax deferred, but as long as you have it in there, again, till retirement, at least 5 years, but till retirement, you take it out, the contributions have already been taxed, the earnings are tax-free. So everything you take out is not taxable. So it's almost like, do you want a tax break today, as with a 401k, a traditional IRA works the same, or do you want the tax break in the future? And I always say diversify, right? So have both pots of money if you can. But that's the general concept. The difference between traditional and Roth is the taxation of the money when you pay taxes on the money.
I want to make sure everybody understood that. So don't be, no shame if you didn't. I want to make sure that you got that. Are you nodding? Everybody, do we have some thumbs up?
Drop in the chat if you understood, or if you need a little
because I want to make sure. Yep, it's really important to me that you understand. One, you get to deduct on your taxes now. That's what she means by the after tax. But when you take that money out when you retire, you're going to pay taxes on that. That's the tradition. The Roth, you don't get to write it off on your taxes now, but when you pull that money out later, you don't pay any taxes on it. Okay. All right. Good. Check out those IRAs. All right, Tiana, one more.
All right. Antoinette asks, I recently received info about investing through my HSA. Sorry. Should I maximize contributions to my HSA to cover post-retirement medical expenses?
Wow.
HSA, health savings account.
Account.
Yep. Everyone's job doesn't offer them. Some people do, some people don't.
I'm not sure. I can't remember if you can wait with your HSA. I don't know how long you can have it. I'd have to get back to you on that one. Because I don't remember if that's something that you can, because tax laws change over time. So I don't know if that's something, I'd have to find out if that's something that you can hold on till your retirement age to then use it because that is a very valid point, that healthcare costs continue to go up. And that's
Right.
one of the challenges people do have in their later years. But I don't know if you can, how long you can roll it over.
Right. I was going to say the same thing, Antoinette. Hey, Antoinette, by the way, is I don't know if you can hold on to the money that long. I think there's a time period cutoff, but you want to know the specifics of your company plan, what your restrictions are for that. And that's I'm glad that you brought that up, because thinking about our healthcare costs when we mature is absolutely a plan, because we all know how much health insurance costs right now. Oh my goodness. How are we going to be prepared for that?
We have one more question that I think is a good one, and then we can wrap. Okay. Kim asks, can you roll over from a 401k into a Roth account?
So not directly. So you have to first ask, instead of the account, you can say, is the 401k account something that you funded with pre-tax dollars, or was there Roth dollars in there? If it was pre-tax, you'd have to roll it to an IRA first and then convert to a Roth, because you have to pay the taxes on it to make it a Roth account. A Roth account is after tax dollars. And that's why Jini was saying, do you guys understand this? It's a very, it could be confusing. So think about the money you put into the 401k. If it came in as pre-tax dollars, you have to make it post-tax dollars, like a Roth IRA, before you can move it to a Roth. So your IRA is the vehicle. You roll it to an IRA, you convert to the Roth. Convert simply means pay taxes on that money before you can put it into the Roth or label it as a Roth IRA.
Okay. So Diana, I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. I leave my job, right? I have a 401k. I've been contributing to my 401k pre-tax. When I leave, meaning when I say by pre-tax, meaning that I've been putting money in my 401k, and when I do that, the amount of money that I pay, the amount of taxes that are being withheld is going down. I make $75,000 a year. I put $5,000 in my 401k. Now I'm only paying taxes on my $70,000. We all got that? So now I've got that $5,000. I left my job. I want to roll it over. What you're saying is I may need to roll that over to a traditional IRA.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. I may need to roll it over.
And then if you want to have it grow as a Roth, you can say, okay, I will convert to a Roth. I will pay taxes on the $5,000, and now I'm rolling over $4,500 into the Roth. And now from that moment forward, that Roth, I can add money to it in an after-tax basis, and yada, yada, yada. It continues as a Roth. But you cannot go directly from the 401k into the Roth unless the 401k you chose Roth contributions, which is possible.
Right. So I don't want y'all to feel overwhelmed, like, oh my God, this is getting a little technical. Because I'm even over here thinking like, whoo, y'all are making me think today. I don't want you, don't be overwhelmed, but this is a perfect example of really good questions. Because now hearing her say that, if I was rolling over something, now I'd be asking two questions. What's best for me? Should I be rolling it over, period? Should I roll it over to a traditional IRA? Can I roll it over to a Roth IRA? Like, ask your questions. Please ask your questions. So y'all, these are really good questions. And I'm happy that everybody is here and that you tuned in. But as Michelle Davis is here, I'm going to say something that Michelle would tell me when I need to do something. She'll say, Jini, are you doing your work? And what she means by that is it's not just, asking all these questions and increasing my 401k contribution. Like, am I working on myself personally to make sure that I can do what I'm supposed to do? Because if we don't do that part first, all this tactical stuff, the energy, the brain power that it's going to take, we might not feel equipped or prepared for. You got to do your work. You got to make sure that you are working on your, call it confidence, your vision, your mindset about money and retirement. Like, you have to be working on yourself to make sure that you can do the work. All right. So don't leave that part of it out, because it's easy. We want to just jump right into the tactical. And then a lot of times, we're like, in a few weeks, we're like, oh, I'm over that.
Jesus.
We didn't do the work, our personal inner work. So don't forget the inner work. So all of Dayanara's contact information is in the chat. We'll share that within the community. So her email address, how to connect with her on Facebook, it's all in the chat. But again, we'll share it in the community. Thank you, Dayanara, for being generous with your time. Looking forward to remind us again when our session is. Our pink table talk is when?
Yes, Pink Table Talk is in exactly 3 weeks from now on April 27th at 7 p.m. So same time, same place in Zoom, though it's a different Zoom link, but you can accept the RSVP in the community so that you can get that information. And again, we would love to hear your stories. So please submit your story and your information in the questionnaire. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you
you for having me.
So again, all month, pay attention to our programming, all about investing, saving, and retirement for April. We are so excited. We're just kicking off the month. And let us know what questions that you all have. Anything else, Tiana, before we wrap up?
No, I think that's all.
Thank everybody for coming. And Lauren has shared the handout, all the resources you all need. Have an amazing evening, everybody.